Hey everybody, welcome to Blue Collar Hockey Talk. My name is Scott Feeney. I'm here with Wes Atkinson. We're going to be talking hockey. We want to hear what you guys got to say. We want to have you guys share the video, like the video, do whatever the hell you got to do to have some people watch this thing. But we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about Leaf injuries. We're going to be talking about Montreal and firing their coach and not their GM. We're going to be talking some thoughts from West Coast Tim. Got a few games to review. Some games coming up. We're going to go over the third of the way through the season. We're going to look at as if like there's a playoff outlook for the North Division, you know. Gonna have a couple stories, and then Wes, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I thought last night's game against Calgary was pretty good. It was a little bit of a hard watch, but hey, man, they were able to split that series, and with all the injuries, I was really happy with it. But I'm doing really well, thanks.
Yeah, that's good, buddy. That's good. Yeah, no, I tried to watch the entire game. I ended up having to watch some highlights. I fell asleep because it was a little boring. But I missed some exciting stuff. The first 55 minutes, no good.
Yeah.
But whatever, man. What can you do? What can you do? Got some injuries coming through on the Leafs, eh, man?
Yeah, so let's get right into that. Like, man, Monday, what a crazy day that was. Zach Hyman was out after he took a shot off the same foot on Saturday night. Joe Thornton missed the game because of a lower body injury. He missed both games. Jake Muzzin, he has a broken bone in his face, so he's going to be out for a little while, and when he does come back, he's going to have to wear a full face shield. And then the biggest surprise was Freddy Anderson missed both games with a lower body injury. Man, like, where did this come from in 48 hours? Like, just nuts.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Like, the injury list sucked. Like, when I saw those things coming up, like, all I could say was, wow, brutal injury report. Because it was like the power play. Like, how the hell are you supposed to keep that going? Like, how do you supposed, how you're mashing everybody together, like that was,
Well, that's exactly it. Like, they took their first unit and second unit and were kind of like, you're still around, you go. Because, like, they clearly didn't know if Hyman was going to play in that first game or not. And who knows about Thornton? Like, we don't know when these injuries are told to the team by the player, so we're not sure how much time they have to like practice, but they clearly on Monday didn't have any rhythm or flow. Like, that was a tough game to watch.
it was. And I mean, in all fairness, like, this is a storm to weather here. This is going to test some character of the team. We need to see some scoring from our depth scoring. I mean, Marner and Matthews going on such a pace. I mean, it'd be nice to see JT getting some goals, but I mean, hell, he had some good chances, didn't he?
Yeah.
But like, whatever. Like, we'll get into that, right? It just sucks seeing these guys out of the lineup. Such key players right now, but let's weather the storm. Got key games coming up too, but whatever. Talk about that later.
It just seems like these injuries aren't, thankfully, they're not like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, but like it's those middle guys, those support guys that really kind of like glue this team together are injured or lagging or in and out of the lineup. And like with Freddie going out and with the backup goalie out too, like that's just crazy that we're on our third string goaltender.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. It is pretty wild. And I mean, like, we don't have an injury report for this, but I'll tell you, I don't know about you, but I'm holding my breath. I mean, we've got some days off till the next game, but I'm really hoping that Matthews is doing okay, because when you hear that he can't take a draw, because he's got his wrist taped up, and he's been dealing with this throughout the whole year. But I heard them say both wrists. I don't know. I just cross fingers, man. I hope that we don't hear anything coming out of that camp.
Yeah, let's hope for the best on that. Well, let's move on from the Leafs injuries, and how about we talk about the news out of Montreal, man? God, the changes on February 24th, Claude Julien and associate coach Kurt Muller were both let go. And assistant coach Dominique Ducharme will be taking over as head coach on an interim basis. Man, the night previous to that, they lost in a shootout against Ottawa. Montreal is currently in fourth place in the North Division with a 9-5-4 record with 22 points. I did not see this coming. I don't know about what you think, Scott.
Oh man, I mean, like, our bandwagon jump segment that we did a few times there. I'll tell you, when you said you were off the bandwagon for Montreal and I was on the bandwagon for Montreal, holy smokes, did I not? I didn't see the bandwagon hitting a friggin' post.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and seeing the head coach go flying off. Like, no, man, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, and to hear that Bergevin hired his guy. How many guys does the guy get?
This is his third coach that he's hiring. Like, how many GMs get a third coach? Like, when Dubas let Babcock go, everyone's like, "Oh, this is his bullet. This is his one bullet that he gets to." Well, unless you're in Montreal, you get a few of these bullets.
Yeah, man, and I mean, like, you've had Carey Price through his elite years, his best goalie in the world years, and did nothing. And you're no further ahead. You're still getting losing streaks and firing coaches, starting from square one back in the room. And to say that the room needed this, like in Bergevin's press conference, he said it twice. You know, the room needed this. You know, the room wanted this. You know, like, what the hell is going on in Montreal?
Yeah, it's. I want to talk to my friends that are Montreal fans and see what they really think about this because, man, the Canadians this year to me were just where they were supposed to be. Last year, they weren't going to make the playoffs. They were going to be so far out of it. They would have been like 12, 15 points out if the season continued and finished the regular way. So they're fighting for the playoffs right now. Like, where did people really think they were going to be? Like, number one overall in the division all year? That was a smokescreen. And I think I said that a few shows ago. And it's just, they're on a cold streak right now. And I guess that Bergevin knows better than us, right?
Fan, I've been shaking my head for 5 years, wondering how he's the general manager still in Montreal. So, man, you're gonna hear nothing good out of me talking about Bergevin. And I mean, I'm a Leafs fan. I know. What the hell do I know about the Habs? Well, I know garbage. I had to censor myself there because I know bad management when I've seen it because I'm a Leafs fan. I've been through a few. So have all of us. And Montreal is just giving this guy another coach.
Mm-hmm. I think what's crazy about it is that his trades, the biggest trades he's made, I think he's won all of them. He traded PK Subban for Shea Weber. He's won that trade. He traded Galchenyuk for Domi, who turned into Anderson. So he's clearly won that trade. Like he's done so well. Like he traded Pacioretty and for Suzuki, and so he's done really well with that. But man, their drafting seems to be they need to invest in their scouting department, I think, because they don't have anyone on their team I can think of as like an elite prospect. Hell, they traded away their elite prospect to get Drouin, and now he's in Tampa Bay, a Stanley Cup champion, and I think he was just renewed as for his contract. He's gonna be in Tampa for the rest of his career. Sergachev,
That's a
that's
good
his
point.
name. Yeah.
I mean, like, like looking at the trades, sure, they look good on paper, but never has he been able to actually put together a team that can really pull it together. You know, like like they're just notorious for going on skids
Mm-hmm.
and going cold for a while. Like we said, twice last year at least they had losing skids, and I think they were 8 games each.
Yep.
And it's the same crew, showing the same spots, and I don't think that it's the coach I don't know, man. They've got problems, and Montreal is nowhere near being able to figure it out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they have some players, and it just seems to be that they have good players from like top of the lineup to bottom of the lineup, but they don't have game breakers, right? They don't have anyone who is a bona fide all star who is going to push for any of these trophies, the Art Ross or the Richard or whatever. Like they don't have anyone like that, and I think that's their biggest problem. Like they have Carey Price, and they have an amazing goalie who has been one of the best in the world for years and years and years. I don't think he's the best anymore, but you know what? Like they have a good team. They just don't have a great team in my mind.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's figuring out who the heck they are. What is their identity and what are they doing? That break did them no good though. Like that
Oh.
week off that they had, holy smokes! Like I was wondering how they were going to come out of it. Got to come out of it okay. They came out of it and got their coach fired. This is
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable. And now they're going to have a hard time, man. Like now, I guess, like when we did our first show, it wasn't Montreal in the top three. It was Winnipeg, it was Edmonton, and it was Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks, and then it was a dogfight for that fourth spot. And it looks like Montreal is actually determined to put themselves in that spot, to be in that dogfight for that fourth spot. and good luck to them. And I mean, holy hell, if the Leafs are going to be in a dogfight for that top spot.
I hope you're right, man. And like, I'm glad that we're in Leafland and not in the Habs right now. How about West Coast Tim? What's he got to say today?
West Coast Tim, the defense is rounded into form. I feel Hall. I've been closely watching. I remember watching him last season, and I was very impressed. For a guy who was benched for a season, he just needed a shot. Bogosian has been okay, not great, but I like what he brings. Brody comes as advertised. I hardly hear about him during the game. He's just smart and effective. And you know what, man? Tim and Wes and whoever's watching this, I agree. If you don't notice a defenseman on the ice, that's a good thing. If they get noticed for, doing something amazing, like, setting up a great play or, getting down and stopping a goal, whatever, that's awesome. But hell, if you don't ever really notice a player, that means that there's no big gaffes, and that's what we needed was somebody that was solid back there. And I'm with you. Like the defense looks as good as I've seen it in years, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think top to bottom, the defense is just better, right? There seems to be like steady plays by the defenseman. The odd time, there's a pizza thrown up the middle, but that's going to happen every game. And it just seems to be there's no like riverboat gambler type like Tyson Berry or Jake Gardner or any of those types of guys where you're just like, oh God, like just do it right and be smart about it. And I think it's a welcome change as a Leaf fan to not be worried about the defense all the time. Like I think Hall has been great. Um, I do think he is a four when it comes to the defenseman. So he is in the right spot, especially that he's partnered up with Muzzin. Well, when Muzzin does get back, I think asking any more from him is pushing it a bit too much. But the rest of the guys are slotted perfectly on the Leafs, and I don't think they have the best defense in the league, but they definitely don't have the worst, and they've had a really bad defense for years and years.
For sure, man. I mean, like we're not going to be winning the Norris Trophy here, but like I'm with you on Hall. He is a perfect four. Like he's great for a second pairing as a complement to a defenseman like Jake Muzzin. And so over the next few games, when we don't have Muzzin in the lineup, it'll be interesting to see how he plays. And like, will we be saying like, holy hell, he's awesome still? Like, I mean, he's done great. I mean, I'm not actually going to give full credit over to his partner. Like him and Muzzin have been an awesome pairing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it when they're on the ice. So I look forward to when they're both back on the ice again. The defense is rounded in well. Bogosian, I like what he brings, but I like what he brings as far as character, chemistry to the team, that kind of thing to the back end. And his game is sound. It's not great. It's not bad. Like it's sound, and we're using him on our third pairing, man. Like
Yeah,
seriously.
you know what you're gonna get from him, right? Like he's a meat and potatoes defenseman. Like it's just get it out off the glass and out. Like that's it. We're not expecting him to get 15, 20 goals. He's not a power play specialist. It's just, man, do your job, take out your man, like get the puck out. That's it. And I'm so glad that we're this deep into the season, and I'm not like, oh my God, the Leafs need another number 3 or 4 defenseman. It's such a welcome change.
Well, I mean, how many times? Like, think about last year. We were watching, Rosen and Lilligren, and I mean Sandina. I'm not knocking any of them, and you were watching these guys and Marinson.
Mm-hmm.
Holy hell, Marinson. These guys were on our third pairing. Now our third pairing is Dermott and Bogosian,
Yep.
or insert Lettinen or insert whomever, like that's awesome. Like that's deep. I'm pretty happy with how our defense is looking. This is going to be a tough stretch of games. We're gonna hear a lot of chatter. We're gonna hear a lot of garbage talk. But really, come on, folks. Let's be serious. Like we're going into a series of games here that are going to be pretty tough. Um,
Yep.
but like before we get into that, what about the games we just played?
Well, let's start off with Monday's game. It was a 3-0 loss to Calgary, and start to finish, the Leafs just didn't have it on Monday, and I think a lot of that had to do with the number of players that were out. Even the first, they stacked that first line with Tavares, Matthews, and Marner, and I don't think that's ever worked. I know they did in the playoffs last year. It just doesn't look good. I don't know. Maybe they're all trying too hard or squeezing their sticks. Like they couldn't even buy a goal, and the first time since last year in the playoffs that they were actually shut out. They couldn't even get a goal on the power play. They went 0 for 7 on the power play. Like that's unbelievable.
It really is. It really is. I mean, I mean, you knew that the game was going to be a tough game for them to play. Like they're playing with their backup goalie, their third string goalie. They're playing with a lot of bodies out of the lineup. But 0 for 7 on the power play, man. And like you say, that what did they call it last year? The nuclear line, they were going to say, like
Oh yeah.
with those three guys up top. It's been anything but. And I'm not trying to knock any of them, but when there's chemistry, there's chemistry. But when it's not working, it's not working. And for whatever reason, like you say, it just doesn't seem to really jive. It doesn't click. And I don't know where you want to put JT. It goes back down on the second line. Maybe you bring Willie up there. Maybe you put Mikhaev up there. Maybe he's actually going to put one in the net. Probably not. No, you don't do that. No.
But you know what though? It's interesting you mentioned even that like Hutchison was in net for that game. To me, he played well. He wasn't the reason why the Leafs lost that game. The Leafs lost that game. I think they were due for a loss like that, and as weird as it is to say that, but man, they hit the post like 3 or 4 times. Like things were just off, and that's gonna happen from time to time in the season. So I'm not too upset about it. And meanwhile, like a week ago, everyone was just furious about that loss to Ottawa, where technically this one is worse than the loss to Ottawa, but everyone's like, it just happens. It happens in a long season.
Like I'm about to say that, no team's gonna win when you've scored 0 goals. Doesn't matter who's in net. Hutchison did fine. There's like, yeah, okay, that first goal that went in, yeah, probably didn't want to have that go in, but you're not pinning the loss on the goalie. You didn't score any goals. You went 0 for 7 on the power play. We don't need to talk about much else. That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's move on to Wednesday's game. 2-1 overtime win, man. It was a rematch of the backups again. Like Dave Riddick in net for the Flames. Hutch was back in net for the Leafs. Hutch played well again, I thought, man. But big save Dave. I don't know what it is that he always plays well against the Leafs. He stopped 71 of 73 shots in these 2 games. Like that is hard to believe when you think of all the firepower the Leafs have.
And not just like some stops. Like he had some big saves. Like he was just, the puck wasn't going in.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't letting that puck go in. And I mean, he was willing that puck out of the net. So yeah, I didn't know if we were going to beat him. But like you say, I didn't know if they were going to beat Hutch. Like that was pretty impressive to watch that. So hats off to Hutch, man, because he's been given a hard time by everybody, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give credit where credit's due. A hell of a game, man. Like we needed those 2 points. Like I all points are important, but those were important. We got Edmonton nipping at our heels, and they are playing hot. And we're going into a 3-game set against them, so we needed those points against Calgary. So yeah, man, to see Nylander get those 2 goals go in, and I've heard a coined phrase, the Neanderthals. Damn it, I blew that. Whatever, they. I'll tell you, like, people have been calling for his head for a while, and I mean, like, you've got to take his game for what it is, I guess, right? Like, he isn't a different player, but man, those 2 goals, whatever, that second goal was pretty slick.
Oh, it was. People hate Nylander. It is amazing, and I don't understand why they hate him so much. Like, I think he is Phil Kessel to the Pittsburgh Penguins, man. Like, he is not good enough to carry a team. Like, he was cast wrong in Toronto, but when he went to Pittsburgh, he was on the second line, and he just did his thing. And that's what Nylander can do on this team, man. Like, he can be on the second line, just, get a few goals every now and then, do your thing, and generally people will be happy with you. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, man. People hate on him so much. I think people hate on him because of his confidence. Like, he's always smiling. Things come easy to him. People think he's not trying hard enough. I don't know what it is, but I love it, man. I love the fact that when he scores, he just puts his hands up and he's like, it's amazing. I love him.
You know what? I'm with you. I can hate on him a lot. Like I don't really. I try not to get onto that train because I try to just appreciate what he is. I mean, I was saying he needed to score. He needed to score because he did. He needed to. But guess what? He did. And he scored 2 very important goals. And thank goodness Calgary hit the post with the net empty.
Yep.
Thank you. 2-on-1, hit the post. and we come back and score. That's cool. Like that's good stuff. And Nylander getting to the net, going to the net. He wanted the goal. I don't think that there's ever really he doesn't try, but I do think that sometimes he isn't playing the same game style that the coach is wanting him to play.
For sure.
But I also really like to see how Keith is willing to actually coach it and not just let it happen. And and look, 2 games later, Nylander scores 2.
Yep.
So
And
that's not a coincidence, man.
yeah, that overtime goal was a nice goal, man. Just come in off the side there, like with some speed, put it right up and over Riddick's shoulder. It was a nice goal, and like that takes some skill. And I think what he is getting paid for his contract, he is probably the best value Maple Leaf contract right now. Maybe Morgan Riley's a bit better, but man, like Nylander, I just love him, man. Like if one of his jerseys go on sale, I'm probably gonna get it, and it's just to troll everyone who hates on him so much because I think he's great, man. I just love his attitude. I think he's awesome.
Do you put 29 or 88? Just curious.
Whatever's on sale, that's the one I would take. Like whatever.
Yeah, if I ever did it, I don't know why I like rookie jerseys. It'd be 29 on the wall, and I really wish he kept that number. It just looked cool. 88, that's Eric Lindros to me, and he's too small, to be Eric Lindros. He's strong, he's a good player, but I'm whatever. I'm not a big Lindros guy. It's just some numbers belong to some guys. Sorry,
Fair.
Patrick Kane. Did I get that right, or was it whatever?
It's Patrick Kane and Lindros. Yeah. Those are both 88. But hey, let's move on for a little bit and let's talk about the North Division as a whole. So we're like a third of the way through the season. So, the standings right now, we have Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and Montreal all in playoff positions. Calgary, Vancouver, and Ottawa are out looking in. All teams have played just around 20 games, man. But do you think it's kind of shaping up the way we all predicted it to be, or are there any major surprises that you can think of?
I think you can honestly put on episode 1 and you'll see that currently as the standings are written, I'm pretty sure it's exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I do. It was Ottawa's down low, Vancouver's going to be down low, and it was honestly Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, top 3, and then kind of fighting for that I don't even. Maybe I didn't say Vancouver low, but it was a dogfight for that 4th, Ottawa in the bottom. No, man, I think that it looks kind of how I was thinking, with maybe a little bit more of a cushion than I was expecting on the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
A 6-point lead, I wouldn't have said that. Like, come on, I'm not going to lie to you. But I did think that we'd be in first, maybe by a point or two. 6 points is sweet, man.
Yeah, I agree where I think the standings themselves aren't too surprising. I think the division of some of the teams is what's surprising, right? Like, the Leafs being up by 6 and then Ottawa being so far back. But Ottawa, they've been playing well, man. They're only 5 points behind Vancouver right now. And Vancouver, I think that is the biggest surprise of the division, is how poor they have been playing this season.
Well, and I mean, I also want to kind of maybe say why I'm saying what I do. Like Winnipeg and Montreal, they each got 3 games in hand right now as we currently sit, as we're recording right now, on Toronto and Edmonton. Toronto and Edmonton sitting first and second with a little bit of division between them, right? But Winnipeg and Montreal, they're essentially a point apart, same games played, but I think they're going in opposite directions. I think that Winnipeg's going to try to join the party with Toronto and Edmonton. And, like Vancouver, rough start, man. Rough start.
But it's crazy because we're already past the starting point. Like, if to make the playoffs, you usually need about a 58% winning percentage. If Vancouver wants to get to that winning percentage, they have to go on a 73% winning percentage the rest of the way out. Like, I think that is tough.
That's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. Like, what has shown us any reason to go and put $1 on that?
Mm-hmm.
Like if there was a bet on my table which way that's going, well, that writes them out. Like that. Holy hell, Green, is he going to be the next coach to go or what?
Man, I sure hope not. I think he's a great coach, and maybe it's just because I have my memories of him being on the Leafs, but I think he is exactly what that team needs, and that team, is kind of exactly like Montreal. Like they overachieved last year in the playoffs, and they lost so many players this year in the offseason that who knows where they were going to end up. And them being out of the playoffs really shouldn't be surprising to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, Calgary being where they are, that kind of surprises me. I kind of thought that they would be, well, they're turning it around. They're a tough team to play. We just saw that. Like
Mm-hmm.
those weren't easy games with the Leafs, man. Like we lost the first one 3-0. We were playing their backup goalie, couldn't beat them. You know, they squashed our power play. So whatever, man. That's this third of the way through the year.
Mm-hmm. Like I do think
Kind
if
of what
yeah, like when you do really look at it, when you think of it from Edmonton to Calgary, there's only a 6 point spread, right? And that's between second and fifth in the division. So I guess everyone is still kind of in it, right? Or like right in that battle. But that means Vancouver's pretty much written off, which is hard to imagine only a third of the way through.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's good hockey though. I mean, like, and anybody that's saying this is weak division garbage can just it's garbage. It's garbage talk.
Oh,
Garbage talk, West.
well, that brings me into something actually. So this is a little bit of a story. Earlier this week, I walked into one of my favorite pubs and just got some takeout. And there was a table, and they were all talking about the Leafs. And this one guy mentioned, if the Leafs end up going to the third round of the playoffs this year, it's just a fluke and shouldn't really matter because they're not playing really good teams in the North Division. And he was wearing a Leaf toque, and all I thought was like, how jaded are Leaf fans, where winning isn't even good enough anymore.
Can't even find enjoyment in it. Like I'm telling you, man. Like for me, it's a one-off season.
Yep.
It's an original six style. We got 7 teams. I know. But like that's the feel that we've got here. Like there's new rivalries being built. There's there's going to be an unbelievable first round matchup in both series out of the North.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be an unbelievable second round matchup out of the North. And we're going to have a representative into the third round. I don't care how you shake it at all. We're playing some pretty solid teams. We're playing a high scoring division where, yes, defense isn't going to be the best division. We get it. We get it. I'm not going to sit here and say that we got us. Whatever, man. This is good hockey, and the Leafs are in first place. And I guess maybe we're just not used to it. The Leafs are in
Yep.
first place. There must be something wrong. There must be some reason why this has happened. It's something different. Oh no, I can't accept it. Like guys, this is fantastic. These boys need this. They need this kind of a season. We if we could win the division, I don't care who the hell we're playing. It's good for these kids because that's what they still are on this team, man. It's a great season. This is fun.
Well, this is it, right? Like I couldn't imagine thinking that of like, hey, if the Leafs win this year, it doesn't count. They still like this is what it is, man. Like no one asked for the situation that we're currently in the world to be happening right now, and like sports, I get is a giant distraction, so we shouldn't be like taking this too much to heart. But still, man, like if you're a Leaf fan, how can you ask for anything more? Like they're winning, they're first in their division by 6 points, a third of the way through the season. They're going to make the playoffs, and it's just the fact people are like upset that they're not winning correctly. I guess it is mind blowing to me.
You want to know something? Do you want to know a little secret? You know how I said I was starting to go through those forum boards and stuff? I can't do it, man. Like I just couldn't do it. Like I had to take a break. It was too much. Like my Facebook crashed. I haven't been able to go on it in 3 days because it just crashed. It was just too much junk. I don't understand how there's. Yeah, man, it's got to be just go Leafs go. Like this is fun. Like Nylander's potted 2 goals. Hopefully that means that he's going to go on a bit of a tear because he's a streaky player. We
Yep.
need him to. So let's hope that happens. Like guys, change the narrative a little bit. How about we start talking about? Isn't it sweet? Like, isn't
Yep.
this cool? Like, we've got some wins to talk about. We're not sitting there watching a 10:30 p.m. game against the LA Kings, watching ourselves get trounced 5-1 midway through the second period, thinking, yeah, I guess that's what was going to happen. Like, no, we've got a team that we can actually go and sit down and think we're going to watch a good hockey game tonight. And you know what? Odds are you probably are.
Yep, I agree, Ben. I think that's it. It's we're just so jaded and not used to having that of thinking like the Leafs are going to win tonight and they're going to be favorites. I think all things considered, if they're healthy the rest of the way through, they should be favorites every game they play from here on out. And I think we're just not used to that as a fan base.
I have two young girls, a 7 and a 9-year-old, and they have watched Saturday night hockey at the very least. They'll watch the first or second period. They got an early bedtime, but you know they've watched it all their life with me. And this year, they've said to me, "Dad, I've never actually gone to bed with the Leafs leading so often." And you know what? It's because you haven't, kids. So enjoy it. This is fun. I don't care what I don't. This is fun.
It's fun.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Go Leafs, go! Like my girls are getting it. They're 7 and 9, and they're getting it. This is wicked. This is good. Austin Matthews scored again. Woo! Like come on, get on the train. Like enjoy this. You can feel the buzz if you want to.
Yeah, and this is the thing that's mind blowing to me is like we know how dark it can get. So enjoy this while it's happening. Enjoy that they're winning. Enjoy that they're favorites. Enjoy that they have some of the best players in the whole league. Not only in the division, but in the league on the team. Like I don't understand these people that just have such a hate on for the Leafs while they're Leaf fans. Like it just bothers me so much.
Wes, like, I mean, come on. I get goosebumps thinking about it. It is not that long ago that I was sitting on the 18-wheeler cheering, having a party with all the other fans in Leaf Nation, and that 18-wheeler went off the friggin' cliff.
Yeah.
Like we have seen dark times. This doesn't feel like that, does it?
No.
This feels like good times, but some people want to change the narrative. Go right ahead, but I don't understand why you want to do that. Quit it. Get your head out of the negative cycle. Please, I beg you, enjoy this because you can.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, here, let's move on a little bit and let's go to this day in hockey history. We're going to go back to the Montreal Canadiens, and I don't think a coach was getting fired with this. So in 1978, the Montreal Canadiens' NHL record 28-game unbeaten streak came to an end against an NHL goalie who made his debut with the New York Rangers. Hardy Astrom made 26 saves and 6 Rangers scored to beat the Canadiens 6-3 at the Forum, ending a run of 23 games and 5 ties by the Canadiens. Like that's great, man. That's something that will never happen again. A 28-game unbeaten streak.
No, that stuff doesn't actually make sense. Like you look at odds and statistics and just how it over the duration of time, that doesn't make sense. Like that's why they made a movie out of Moneyball, because the Athletics won 20 games in a row or whatever the hell they did.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's a pretty unbelievable. That's a wild stretch. Can you imagine being on that fan base at that time? Like,
Oh
that
my
would have been
God.
a fun time, wouldn't it?
No wonder they're always complaining. It's because they're holding up like whatever team is currently on to a team like that. Of like they didn't win 20 games in a row. Like these are chumps or something, right? Like,
oh, that's something, man. Like that is pretty something. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, man. I couldn't imagine.
no, you can't, right? And the only thing the Leafs have done in our lifetime that is like one quarter similar is that when they started the season 10-0 in like 93, I think, when Dougie and those guys were on the team. And man, the rest of the season though, I'm pretty sure they just went 500 and they like coasted their way into the playoffs. But hey, they still made it, so that's all that matters.
No, I think you're right on that. I think you're 100% correct, my man.
Yeah. Well, here, how about this? Let's preview the upcoming game against Edmonton on Saturday. It's the first of 3 in Edmonton. Wow, man, I don't know if it's the right time to be going into Edmonton right now. They're on a bit of a hot streak.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I mean, I usually go, hey, I just said, let's have a great time. I am having a great time. I'm also realistic. And the Leafs are weathering a storm right now. I'd be a fool to not notice that. Take a look at the injury report. I'm not going to make an excuse, but it's going. take a look at the last two games. It's hard to catch a rhythm right now. So the Leafs are struggling a little bit. They're going into a team that is extremely hot. They're, I think, 8-2 in their last 10 games, if I'm not mistaken. And so you've got that team playing well. They're 6 points back going into 3 straight games with the Leafs. I don't know what would be a realistic hope for here. Like, I mean, I always go, hey, let's try to go get all the points. Like, I mean, man, if you won 2 games here, I think you friggin' did well.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think they'll only get one of the 3. I think this will be the first like series they lose, but I really hope they can get 4 points out of this somehow, because like that would just keep the Leafs that much further than Edmonton and show that they're that much deeper of a team than Edmonton. And we were talking about the Leafs defense earlier in the show. I think the Leafs have a better defense than Edmonton, so hopefully that'll be one of the differences in the series, and they'll be able to scrape out more points that way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's going to come down to who wants to work the hardest in the corners, who wants to go at the net, who's willing to get the dirty goal, because there's going to be some flashy goals. It's going to happen in these games on both teams. We've got highlight reels ready to go on all 3 of these games. So I think that it's going to come down to who's going to get some of those dirty goals, who's going to get in front of the net, let the puck bounce off your ass into that net, who's going to clean it up, get it out. You know, though that's where it's going to come down, man. It's going to be fun hockey with highlight reel goals. With I hope we're the harder working team. I'm really hoping we can get 4 points. It's going to be fun hockey though, and man, this is who we expected to battle with. And I think this is who we're going to battle with. A lot of people were calling Edmonton first. A lot of people were calling Toronto first. And I think that both teams have a case. And this series, it'll either create some separation or make it a little closer.
Well, the thing is with that too, you got to remember after the series, there's only 2 more games left between Toronto and Edmonton. So this really, really is Edmonton's chance to catch up to the Leafs. And if they end up only picking up, if Edmonton ends up only picking up 1 win, then the Leafs could be just out of their sights to catch, right? The way the season is scheduled. So it's really important for Edmonton. And I think, if Hutch is in net for all 3 of these games, yeah, I really hope the Leafs can get 4 points.
Me too. I mean, and at best, we're going to have Campbell in net too. And I mean, I'm not like he's coming back. He hasn't played hockey in a bit. Like, how is he going to play if he does get in the net? So, I mean, like, let's not think that that's going to be an amazing thing to happen. Like, that'll take a couple games for him to catch his legs. Hope not. Hope he comes in is just tapping his boys on the back end after every play like he does. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. But Hutch has got good numbers so far. Like I say, I hated on him. And rightfully so. Like, I mean, his numbers did it. And with that said, I shouldn't say that. We can actually get into a whole lot of babs, but we won't do that either right now, will we? But like he didn't. Well, I will a little bit because he didn't really let Hutchison have the greatest of a chance. He never got the better start. He always got the tougher start with the second goaltender, which I understood the logic, but it didn't. It just hung your backup goalie out to dry. Like by theory, that's what it did, and that is what happened. So
yeah, I
whatever,
agree.
maybe.
I agree. Like what Babcock did last year with Hutchison, like there was a method to the madness, but what was more maddening is he didn't change it. He just kept on doing the same thing again and again and again. And if you do that, you're going to get the same result. So when people got mad at Hutch for not performing, it's like, well, he's not being set up for success, right? Like, help the guy out. Put him in against a lesser team or something like that, or one of the teams lower in the standings. Like, not always against the second of the back-to-back, but whatever. That's here nor there, man. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight, unless you got any last words to say.
No, man, I don't. I mean, all I want to say is that I hope that you like the video. I want to hear some comments. I want to have a message or two. And, I think that maybe we can start thinking something up of what does the draft look like coming up for the expansion draft maybe next week. But anyway, boys, thanks for watching the show.
All right. Well, if you like what you see and what you hear, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at BlueCollarHT, or email us at bluecollarhockeytalk@gmail.com. And like we said a bunch of times today, go Leafs go.
Take care, guys.